introduction. No one knows me none, so everything is fine, fine. I said I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. Serious business. There is a time for everything, and for everything there is a season. So man and man must reason. So I think it's prime time that we address some more issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind, make sure everything is fine, while I take you down a poetic line. Trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. I remember you say Liberation Day, and I ask, you sure is that you wanna say? Cause you sounded so good to believe. And deception is a powerful thing when you lose your rightful thinking. So we voted for the bling. But you trick us with campaign promises, we won't say at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Yellow, yellow all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house gets yellow, bus gets yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing.
And good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Pity Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. It is now 2 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
That's the way it is. We've waited.
And we say a special good night to our listeners out there in Carriacou and Petite Martinique.
Refrain.
Those of you listening out in North America, whether you're in Canada or you are in the US of A, we say a special good night to you. Those of you listening from other Caribbean islands, whether you're in the Northern Caribbean, you're in the Central or you're in the Southern Caribbean, all down to South America, we say a special good night to you.
The cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession, no employment for the ordinary man. When you trick us with campaign
yeah, it's our last program of the week.
That's the way it is.
And most likely our last program of the year, huh?
Now refrain, you now refrain.
Yeah, we know next week is Christmas week. Most people around this time, you're hanging curtain, you're painting the house. You know, you're baking the little bread and the little cake and them kind of thing, you understand?
Never mind.
Yeah, don't forget how to find Brother Sheldon, eh? Yeah, you know how to find, man. Christmas time, help all your boy.
Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run no race. 5 years.
And let me say a special good night to all of you on the live over on the Facebook. To Vaughn, Claude, Ingrid, Denise, Florence, Deborah. That's who I'm seeing there so far. Let me see who else is there. Natalia and Betty, McLean, Yvonne. A special good night to all of you. And over on the YouTube, to Wilma, Gemma, Sherma, Anne-Marie Celestine, Christine Otley, Affie Monroe, Errol. All right, baby daddy. Yes, everybody is in tonight.
Hold your yellow conviction strong.
Remember to like and share. I see the subscription going up. So we're looking to get up to the 1,000 by January. All right. So we had 732 subscribers right now. From what I'm seeing here on the YouTube page. Let's get that up to the 1,000. Huh? And also remember to like and share the Talking Points page, not just the live itself, But the page, huh?
About your internal division, but some can't digest that one. Remember the man say he's an asset to the party, and will we vote you without him? You left him with Glenn alone. Maybe they cloned. And however, I foresee a pretensive unity that will mislead a lot just before the next ballot. But you guys will have to come real good, cause it's a long time Grenada ain't eat a food. You think politician good? Trick us with campaign promises. We won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain.
You know, as it's our final program for the year, let's try this tune.
Plan for Jonah.
I am a prayer for my country. I want to say a prayer to the Lord for my nation. I want to say a prayer for all them politicians. I want to beg the master to brighten their vision. Give them the inspiration to look beyond the horizon. Too long we living in bitterness and hate. Now the time is right for us to renew our faith. I'm sick and tired of all the confusion. The bickering been going on much too long. So as we move to the new century, Father, hear my plea. Hey, Father, I pray for the PM to find solution for we problems. Oh, Father, I pray for every minister to see.
Just giving you all a little bit to build up the live, right? Yeah, we need to build up the live there. All right, now we halfway to what I want to be so far. So we got to build it up, yeah? Nice.
I pray for happiness and a whole lot of love in my country. But I pray for the police, please inspire them to keep the peace.
Yeah, Gloria, Onika. Hey, Onika, what go, girl? Hey, Nursey. Yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful night tonight. Londa, Kester, Anne, I'm seeing Unison, and yeah, Natalia, I seen you over here too, girl. Right, nice. Yeah.
I pray and I pray, I pray and I pray, I pray for the whole of my nation.
Dwight, Jillian, Shemi, yes, girl. Norma, Rhonda, Marilyn, Sherms, William, Landon, Carl, Deborah, Florence, Denise, Ingrid. I'm saying a special good night to you all. I think I said good night to Ingrid before, but you're a nice person. We could say it twice. Nice? So call your friend, call your family. Remember to like and share the live. Send a WhatsApp message to your friends letting them know that the live is on.
But they still cannot find nothing to do in this country.
It is the 15th day of December 2022. And if public servants get paid, no, but seriously, on a serious note, it is the 15th of the month, and I'm hearing stories. I heard that some get and some ain't get, so I don't know if right now we're paying in tranches. So you pay some today, you pay some, I don't know. But it is the 15th of December, and as per tradition, public workers are to receive their salaries today. They should have gotten it today. And they can't be using the excuse about the credit union and it take longer. That is not true. Most of the credit unions right now have an arrangement with the banks, and so once those checks come in, they're placed immediately. The cash is placed immediately into your account. So it's not a thing that says the credit union and that sort of thing. Any mess up in relation to this, where public workers did not receive their salaries today, has to do with the government of Grenada. It has to do with nobody else but the government of Grenada. The systems have changed in the credit unions and so. So it when a check comes in from the government of Grenada, and you're one of the persons to be paid by that check, the funds are applied to your account nearly immediately, right? Nice.
This is not politics. Please don't forget.
And folks, as it's the final program for the year, the phone lines are open right through us. So 440-7377. And for those of you outside of Grenada, 347-329-3101.
To live up to your expectation. Neither are you
so you can call in.
up to mine.
Let me say a special good night to those of you up in St. Mark. We know that the Sunset City activity is here it's real going on right now. Real thing going on up there. Cultural performances, food, drinks on sale. Nice. So that's taking place up there in St. Mark. Sunset City up on Diamond Street. So if you're on the West Coast, whether you're to the top West Coast or the bottom West Coast, you could head on up to St. Mark. That's being held by the constituency office, yeah? Nice. So I'm seeing many people saying they got paid, so we're glad. Nice. Because you need it, eh? We know that. Nice.
So man and man must reason.
And as we on the issue of pay and thing, remember, yeah, the release I read last night, and just in case you had gone to do something else. Yeah, so this is one that was sent out to the police. And in it, it says that the government offered the police and the trade unions, the public workers union, and so they offered them for 2023, 4%, for 2024, 2%, and for 2025, 2%. Now, when I say that, what I mean is whatever salary they're getting now, that they would get a 4% increase on that salary. In 2023, they'd get a 2% increase in 2024 and a 2% increase in 2025. But from the projections that are made going back to 2020 up to 2025 in the medium-term economic strategy that is in place for the government, that's one of the documents that came out along with the estimates of revenue and expenditure, and some of the projections that you're seeing in the estimates for revenue and expenditure going up to 2025, you expect that your GDP, you expect that the amount of money, the amount of production in Grenada would be rising according to what the government is saying. So on one side, they're telling you that they will be making more money over the next 3 to 4 years. That's what they're telling you in their documents, in their economic strategy that they have in place. That's what they're telling you. But when they're speaking to the unions, when they're speaking to the hard-working police officers and nurses and doctors and teachers and everybody, they're telling them, no, what we could offer you all, instead of giving you increases as we go along, serious increases, they're decreasing the amount of the increase. I know that sounds funny, they're decreasing the amount of the increase. So what the unions are proposing, at least what the Royal Grenada Police Force Union has proposed, is in 2023, the same 4%, but in 2024, 8%, and in 2025, a further 8%. All right, so that's 16-20% in total. Meanwhile, what government is offering is only an 8% increase. The police are requesting a 20%. And let me see, I have that correct? 8 and 8, 16 and 4, yeah, 20. So the trade union or the Royal Grenada Police Force joint negotiating team, they are saying we want a 20% increase over the next 3 years as such. 4%, 8%, 8%. The government is saying what we could offer you all is 8%, 4%, 2 and 2. All right? So further negotiation has to take place. And for some reason, the prior release spoke to a document that was produced by Ernst & Young, who are a company outside of Grenada that was brought in to do an assessment of the pay grade of police officers. In other words, are police officers in the state of Grenada being paid enough? You see, that's how you do things. You assess and see if you're being paid or if you're paying correctly for the grade that people are at. So Ernst & Young, they did that pay and grade, that pay, what do you call it? They did a pay assessment of the Royal Grenada Police Force. That report was supposed to be given to the members of the police force since last weekend for them to go over the weekend, right? For a further meeting to take place on Tuesday. That report was never given to them for whatever reason. Maybe it is what is contained in that report some people don't want the police officers to see. But it is important for that report to be produced and given to the officers. Because even if it says that they should get an increase of, let's say, 40%, I believe that the officers would be reasonable and they would say, no, well, that's what the report says, but we're willing to take with the 20 that we were saying. And maybe over the next cycle, or next 5 years, or next whatever years, we'd be able to get it up to another 20, which would put us in line with the 40% that the Ernst & Young document is saying. But whatever it is, that document, and the excuse being used is what? Let me see here. The excuse being used is please be advised that relative to the previous release from the Royal Grenada Police Force Joint Negotiating Team, no meeting was held with the government negotiating team on Monday the 12th of December as planned due to the non-production of the Ernst & Young report. The same has not been received to date. So as of yesterday, they still didn't receive that report. And government has been saying to them that they would like to wrap up that discussion. They would like to wrap up discussions in relation to the issue of pensions by tomorrow. Not pension, sorry, pay and grade. By tomorrow. But yet still you haven't produced the document for the police officers. So it looks as though this is going, and the final part of this release says, separately, the Royal Grenada Police Force Joint Negotiating Team engaged the government negotiating team relative to the non-submission of the requested report for continued negotiations toward the rectification of the pay and grade issue. The government negotiating team reported that they were unable to obtain the full report. Like if Ernst & Young closed down and they can't just send an email to Ernst & Young and say, we're requesting a copy of the report in relation to, like they just an email away. It's not like long ago you had to write a letter and wait until a plane take it across or a boat take it across to England for a report to come back. No, these days you send an email, you send a WhatsApp message within seconds. It's received on the other end. Nanoseconds, it's received on the other end. And they can send that full report to you in no time. So that's a non-excuse, right? Thus, the Royal Grenada Police Force Joint Negotiating Team intends to pursue the said pay and grade issue through other channels. They did not say what those other channels are. They did not say whether they're going to go to the Labour Commissioner. They did not say whether... Do we have a Labour Commissioner? I think we do. Yeah, a female I think we have now, yeah. So, they didn't say whether they're going to the Labour Commissioner or whether it's a case that they're going to the courts and try to get what they're just due. Whatever it is, they're going to pursue other channels in relation to this issue, because definitely it can't be sorted out tomorrow. Meanwhile, I didn't get a chance to peek at the news tonight, so any of you that did see would be able to tell me what the PWU, what the Public Workers Union, the Technical and Allied Workers Union, and so have been saying about this particular issue, and what were their proposals that they put on the table. We've seen what the police put on the table as their proposal, 20% over 3 years, 4, 8, and 8. The government's response, 4, 2, and 2, 8% in total. And we're waiting to hear what the other unions were asking for. Right? Yeah, we need to find out what was taking place in relation to that. Charmaine, good night to you. And Wendy Ann, Betty Ann, Joanne. Yeah, good night to all of you. So I'm very interested in hearing from the other unions, from the Public Workers Union, from the Technical and Allied Workers Union. I think the Grenada Mental and Manual Intellectual Workers Union, I think they have 1 or 2 workers. I'm not sure if they still had 1 or 2 workers that were under the government. So they had negotiations in relation to that too. I don't know. Natalia say 4%, 2 and 2 playway numbers. Now I pick 3 here. I pick 3 numbers. 4, 2 and 2. Or 4, 8 and 8. So go and play them numbers. When you win, send a look at something my direction. All right? Nice.
It's prime time that we address some more issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get to...
Master Carl Miller, good night.
Make sure everything is fine while I take you down a poetic line. Trick us with campaign promises. We won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited.
Antonio, you know I don't care if people are calling my name. That's a non-issue. Please don't waste my time with that.
I remember you say Liberation Day.
Yeah, if you want to deal with them, deal with them. I don't have time to waste on idiots.
It's so good to believe. And deception is a powerful...
Good night to you, Winnie and Courtney. Hope you all are having a wonderful night.
Trick us with campaign promises. We won't say at ease. That's the way it is.
I've seen some people today talking about, last year they get a little double bubble and that kind of thing. This year, nothing so.
Yellow, yellow, all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house gets yellow, bus gets yellow, man gets...
So, I'm very interested in finding out what the Public Workers Union has to say about this. And I find it very strange that you don't have news entities, with the exception of some of the independent media, reporting on things like these. Yeah? I'm not admonishing them or anything. I'm saying it's just very interesting that you have issues like these, that had it been taking place under the New National Party, this would have been in the first section of every news story, that every news broadcast that came out in Grenada. You know that. Yeah? You'd have had the talking heads, they saying government wicked. We asking for 20 and they're telling us 8 and we're not settling for that. And we tell the government go and come again. That sort of thing. But now it's happening and you're not hearing anything about it. Yeah? You're not hearing anything about this. And when it comes to another issue that we spoke about here, and we spoke about the declaration of assets. Yeah. So some of the members did go and declared their assets today. So let's tell you who declared their assets. And then by elimination, you could probably guess who did not declare their assets. So, Honorable Lennox Andrews, Honorable Philip Telesford, Honorable Andy Williams, Honorable Karine James, Honorable Ron Redhead, Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Senator the Honorable Dave Andrew, Senator the Honorable Gloria Thomas. They each went in today and declared their assets to the Integrity Commission. And I hope all your paperwork correct and what all you put there is the right thing and all you declare everything here, because anything all you don't declare, all you in real hot water, all you like a crab in hot water, all you well cooked. All right, nice. And the Honorable Senator, the Honorable Claudette Joseph, who is the Attorney General, is going to be declaring her assets tomorrow. Honorable Tevin Andrew, he declared his assets yesterday. So Tevin declared yesterday. Lennox, who is an economist, this is an economist and needed extra time to fill out a declaration. Right, so he declared today. Philip Telesford, Andy Williams, Karine James, Ron Redhead, Adrian Thomas, David Andrew, Gloria Thomas. They all declared today. Right? So it seems as though I think I'm missing a name there. Where is the Minister of Health? That's Senator, what's his name again? His name is just jumping in front of me right now. One of you all throw it into the chat there for me. You see, sometimes, Lacrette. Yes, Senator Lacrette. So I'm not seeing his name there. Right? Also, Malia, good night to you and to Mr. Watts. There's also another issue there. If you're asking the members to come in and declare their assets, there is one particular member, the House of Representatives right now, whose name was gazetted prior for failure to declare assets previously to the Integrity Commission. And that is none other than the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Leon Cato. Yeah? So you had a situation where this individual was sanctioned before the name was placed in the Gazette for failure. And I haven't seen them declaring. So I'm wondering if they will be declaring their assets. Because if you are to be a fair and unbiased arbitrator in the House of Representatives, I would think it's important that you declare your assets, sir. All right? The Act number 24 of, what year was that? 2014, I believe it was, 2013. Yeah, it does give provision for, notwithstanding the provisions of subsections 1 and 2, the Commission may, in any particular case, for good cause, extend the time given in the notice for the furnishing of a declaration for a period not exceeding 3 months. So I'm wondering if within that period of time, we'll be having a declaration from Mr. Cato, yeah?
If you want good health. And for real, we appreciate the free barrel, but they only come in December. So what we are doing from January to November, salt
and once again, I want to publicly thank Mr. Oliver Joseph for joining us last night. Very educational program in relation to Budget 2023.
Hoping you'll listen strain, but you not refrain. You not refrain. By the way, what will be your theme for the next campaign? It can never be about change.
Anthony To, yes, Andy went in today.
To vote for NDC in Japanese.
Yeah, the name Quince Britton is missing there, so I wonder when Senator Britton is going in to declare his assets, because his name is not amongst those who have declared their assets.
Although enough things affect us negatively, we are still blessed by the Almighty.
In all fairness, he's not a member of cabinet. While a member of parliament, he's not a member of cabinet. I am not sure if he was yet notified to come in and declare his assets. But if he has and he has not come in and declared his assets, because it's an easy thing to go out there and say all kind of negative thing about people, but when you're under the microscope, you realize some of them start to melt under the microscope now.
Please don't forget.
So when come time to declare their assets and so they need extra time, they need 2 weeks, and who gets 2 weeks and still need an extra day and all this sort of thing.
I'm not in this world.
So we don't know if it's that they don't have assets, they have so much assets, or they didn't have and they get in and they're trying to make sure that they get it in time to declare it. And just a reminder, when you're talking about the assets, it includes if they have cash at home, like they have cash at home and thing in a safe, they have to declare that. Jewelry and other monetary items, they have to declare that, right? Any vehicle that they have bought or sold within the last 3 years, they have to declare that. Land that they have bought and sold within the last 3 years, those sort of things, right? So any major purchases, they have to declare all the money in all of their bank and credit union accounts, and of their wife or husband, all of their bank and credit union accounts. If they have a loan from Fast Cash, they have to declare that. Accel Finance, Courts, whatever, you have to declare that. Any indebtedness anywhere, you have to declare it in your declaration that you're making to the Integrity Commission. If you have $250,000 in bounce checks out there that you need, you have to declare it to the Integrity Commission. I'm not saying anybody has $250,000 in bounce checks out there. I'm saying if you do have $250,000 in bounce checks out there, you have to declare that to the Integrity Commission. You have to declare the accounts that those checks are connected to and the situation with them. So any indebtedness that you have must be declared to the Integrity Commission. Any property that you have must be declared to the Integrity Commission. You cannot, some people may think that it's okay to shift things from on their name onto somebody else's name. If you've been doing that between the point in time that you have come into now, that as well needs to be said and declared to the Integrity Commission. So it can be a case that you have $500,000 here and you take that $500,000 and you give it to a brother or sister and you don't declare it because you say you give it to your brother. No, you must declare that $500,000 that you do that with, all right? So this is a very specific something. It is a very serious something. So I'm very interested to see the outcome of these declarations now that have gone before the Integrity Commission.
But you now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what?
And remember, you also have to declare the assets of all of your children under the age of 18. So any children that you have under the age of 18, their credit union savings or their junior savers or whatever in one of the banks and so, or even their savings union in the school that they are, has to be declared as well. And if you don't declare that, then you have breached the Integrity in Public Life Act and there are penalties, yeah? So again today, some of the members went in, so right, one member was unable to file, and I believe the member that was unable to file, who should have known how to file, seems to be, well, let me just say who that is. But all I will say is this: Honorable Senator, the Honorable Claudette Joseph is filing tomorrow. The Integrity Commission, by and large, is a legal body and falls under her purview as the Minister of Legal Affairs. I would have thought, to prove as an example to the others, that she would have been one of the first people to declare and not be declaring tomorrow. Yeah, I thought that would be the case.
All your projects are stuck in a pipeline. But when asked,
Well, they don't understand how to do the document and they need help. Give boy a shout.
never mind.
4407377. That's the number you can call and get onto the inside. It's now 30 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock.
start, please answer that. Oh, soon.
On our way up to 9 o'clock, yeah?
Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run no race. 5 years is a lot of space. It's just a few hungry people in a place and a few disgruntled grim people with their vexed face. When you trick us with
Ibrahim is saying, what happens if they don't declare? There can be there are some sanctions, I believe, that can be placed on them by the Integrity Commission. I'd have to go over the act to tell you specifically what. I know usually it's gazetted and so on. They do make a little issue of it. They would gazette it and so. What else they do, I am not clear. But if a false declaration is made, if a declaration is made, but it is false, in other words, there are parts of that declaration that are untrue, patently untrue, then there are some serious legal consequences to that.
You are Manchester, whole of the country. You didn't see us down by the bureau when they send SSU to between. Trick us with campaign promises. We won't say a tease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease this strain. But
so if a person does not declare, it says where a person in public life fails to file a declaration in accordance with this section, or without reasonable cause fails to furnish particulars in accordance with section 34. In other words, when a person files, the Integrity Commission could call and say, listen, we are not satisfied with what we have before us. You need to provide us with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right? So the Commission shall publish such fact in the Gazette and at least one weekly newspaper in circulation in Grenada if the person does not file. All right? In addition to that, the Commission may at any time after the publication made pursuant to subsection 3 make an ex parte application to the court for an order directing the person in public life to comply with the provisions of the Act and court. In addition to making such an order, impose such conditions as it thinks fit. All right? Every member shall file a declaration in the form provided in third schedule with the Governor General before he or she assumes office and thereafter on or before the 31st day of March each year during which he or she remains a member. And that's in relation to the members of the commission itself and so on. All right, so there's quite a specific bit of legislation, and I might probably even need to get a lawyer to come in and speak about that one. All right, yeah, I might need a lawyer to come in and give us a little chat in relation to that particular one.
pressure and hunger, and from the mouth of Grenada, only one thing I utter: the Congress neglect us, the Congress fail us, and I could never understand the distribution of the wealth. So drink your bush home if you want good health, and for real we appreciate the free.
And I'm always hoping that at least one of them would come out and say and make a public declaration. But all of them, why are all afraid to make a public declaration? So yeah, you all afraid to make a public declaration? Make a public declaration. You want to tell people how much million all you in all your bank account and thing? Tell people that. Dr. Mitchell wasn't afraid to make his own public.
Campaign.
Why is the present Prime Minister and his team afraid of letting people know how much they're making?
Tell people to vote for NDC.
Don't afraid, be brave.
You better wrap up $1,000 in yellow jerseys for we, or give us everything free as in the days of NNP, or else funeral for NDC.
Paula, good night to you.
Grenada still belongs to we, although enough things affect us negatively.
Some people been telling me to find this Christmas in like other Christmases before. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Be liked by you.
And again, today, we'll come back to the Integrity Commission and so on, and there's another two issues I need to raise. Today, once again, we saw incompetence at work, and not the people who are actually doing the job down there in the south of the island. On a day like today, when you had large flights coming in and you have two extra large cruise ships in, when salaries by government ought to have been paid, which would mean that the road even busier than normal because it's Christmas time. When you claim that the place is busy because you pay a pension, that's when you decide during the busy rush hour times to go and pave the road in Grand Anse, man. and that traffic park up. Yeah, nearly 60 cars deep sometime. Both directions. Nonsense. Is this really the best time for you to be doing that in the daytime? Could it not have been done when you have less traffic on a Saturday? Or on a Sunday when you have near to none? Sometimes on a Sunday you could play cricket in them areas and still get 2-3 overs before a vehicle pass. Yeah? So wouldn't it have been more sensible to do it at that point in time? But again, as I told you, the intention is to give the impression that we're doing a lot of work, So they go and they make you have to sit down in traffic so that when you pass, you see some guys steamrolling an area and putting down some Baba Green and so on. And then you say, oh, the government working, thing taking place. Yeah? So it's just to create that impression that, hey, we're working and we're working hard. Meanwhile, you're passing in other areas and your vehicle go down in it and you can't even find your tail light and thing when they go down in some of them hole. But the paving those on the main road at the wrong time. Nobody is saying don't pave it, Don't get me wrong. Nobody is saying don't pave it. We're saying do the entire thing sensibly. Do it at a point in time when it is of less inconvenience to the rest of us. Because you have people trying to get to and from the south of the island and ending up in this constant situation where, especially on days when there are large flights in, so the volume of traffic going down increases because people are going to pick up their relatives and then they're coming back up. And then you have 2 large cruise ships, which mean you have people that are leaving town to go down to the south of the island to go on Grandans Beach and BBC and to go on a tour down in Grandans and that sort of thing. So you have a large amount of volume of traffic and then today's payday. So you're telling me nobody had enough common sense to know, don't do that today? Come on, man. Seriously. Really? Seriously?
We won't stay your tease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain. But you now refrain.
Yes, Cindy, and I do agree. People have to be careful how they're spending for the Christmas.
So cherish what you have to diminish.
Because remember, the salary that you're getting right now, if you are one of the lucky ones getting a salary, remember it have some people that have no salary getting. So if you're lucky and you have a salary getting, remember this. Come January, February, you have to pay an increased amount for water, less disposable income, because you have to pay more for water. They could say what they want. At the end of the day, every household in Grenada has sugar. You have to pay more for sugar and the products that use sugar. You have to pay more for baked products because the price of flour will go up. You'll have to pay more for flour and for baked products as well. And then with the baked products with sugar that you're using water for, you know what's going on. Right? So the price of all those things is going to increase. And the price of electricity is going to go up. That's going to increase. Because you can't tell me that you take off a 5 or 6% and you put on a 25 or whatever it is. And that's supposed to reduce it. That doesn't reduce it. No, that will make it less. Yeah? So, you have that situation. Electricity price is going to go up. You have the price of water. You have the price of baked products, flour and so on. That's going to go up. The price of sugar, that's going to go up. You also have other prices that are going to go up. They said they capped the freight at the 2019 level. Yeah, you capped the freight at the 2019 level, but the benefits that were derived by the business community were not passed on to the common man. So none of us could say that we are seeing the prices of goods in the supermarket going down. Instead of that, we're seeing them going up. Yeah? We're seeing them going up. So overall, your spending power now is going to be diminished significantly come January, come February, when some of these measures take effect. So be careful how you are spending this Christmas. Because the dollar that you may think you have now and how far that dollar could reach, that dollar going to be falling short come January. So you have to be careful in relation to your spending. All right? So remember, even the chicken wings, the back and neck, all those things are going to go up as well, especially if it's locally produced. the local producers, as much as they may like and want to keep it at a certain level, they were not given an exemption when it came to the increase in the water rate. So it means that they use significant amounts of water. They must keep the birds hydrated and keep the animals hydrated, and they must keep the areas clean and so on. So they are going to be facing increased bills when it comes to water, the usage of water for their operation. They're also going to be facing increased bills when it comes to the price of feed, in the same way that you use wheat in the production of flour, which is then transferred to the production of baked goods, and so the same way you're going to find an increase in the production, the price of feed, because feed is also used making wheat and that sort of thing. So the price of animal feed is going to go up, the price of the water, the price of the electricity, right? Maybe even the price of transportation, because we know the roller coaster that the price of fuel goes. So you're not even sure if the price of transportation is going to remain what it is right now. So you can very well find that what would be happening is that also the price of poultry products, meat, chicken, yeah, even pork, all of these things that you're using feed and a lot of water in, that the price of production of these things is going to go up, and therefore the price that they sell for is going to increase as well. And listening to the budget, you've heard no measures being put in place to mitigate against that, to stop that from happening. You've seen no measures put in place to protect people like the Grenada Bottling Company and the Grenada Breweries, and even the West Indian Brewery. Those places, you have not seen different things put in place to protect them. They use a lot of electricity. They use a lot of water. Yeah. In the case of both the Grenada Bottling Company and the Grenada Breweries, they also use sugar. They use wheat at the Grenada the Grenada Breweries. They use wheat in the production of beer and malt and so on. So their prices may very well be going up. So you can see the price of enjoy your last Christmas with your stag and your carib and your malt and all these things at the price that it is, because there is a high likelihood that within the next 6 to 8 months, we will be seeing an increase in the price of these items. That is what Budget 2023 do for you. Yeah? And remember, after all of this, that you have to pay more for your drinks. You have to pay more for your bread and your cake and those kind of things. You have to pay more for your sugar to bring your chicken and them things. You have to pay more for that, right? You still have to come back and pay more for your electricity. I think I mentioned electricity, yeah, electricity and water, and so your poultry products, your meat and that, you have to pay more for that. Then, due to inflation that's taking place worldwide, you have to pay more for all the stuff that's coming in. And even the farmers that are producing locally, if they are using water sources connected to NAWASA, therefore their production costs are going to go up as well. And you have not heard anything in the budget that's protecting you against that. And out of your salary, you're going to be paying increased NIS payments. Yeah. You're going to be paying NIS at an increased level. So you're going to be paying more to the NIS on a monthly basis. So all in all, what you're seeing happening there, and that is why they want to discuss other things. They don't want us to discuss these things. What you're going to be seeing happening there is that you're going to be having less money in your pocket. So it is not unreasonable when you see the Royal Grenada Police Force Joint Negotiating Team saying we're looking for a 20% increase, because what they're looking to do is try to at least match what is happening with inflation, with the price of goods going up, ballooning up and going up and up and up. And that's what we've been seeing. Last year, Christmas, according to somebody said earlier, last year, Christmas, you're getting chicken leg. This one is chicken foot. Yeah, because the prices of stuff just keep going up and up and up. But they don't want us to discuss these issues. They want us to discuss issues that, what have they really put inside there that's going to benefit the poor and vulnerable? And they keep saying the NNP love the poor and vulnerable, and the NNP only talking about the poor and vulnerable. Yeah? The NNP cares, and therefore the NNP will always look out for the poor and vulnerable in our society, to help the people who really need help. Yeah? And that is the situation that we find ourselves in with Budget 2023. And you heard Mr. Oliver Joseph speaking on the budget last night. So you heard various things there. Listen, these are individuals, because the Prime Minister is out again. These are individuals who have just spent $500,000 on travel in 6 months. $500,000. Let me just say, $500,000 in 6 months in travel. And then when the question is posed to them, to say, who used that? Who went on these trips? Where they went? What did they go there to do? Who paid for the trip? Whether it was the government of Grenada paid for the trip, or some international agency, or if they're going up to the UN, that the UN paid for the trip or whatever. And they refuse to answer. They just give the total and say government has spent $500,000 plus in relation to travel. Meanwhile, the New National Party in a whole 12 months would spend $100,000 or so. Just under 200,000 in 1 year, in 12 months. They could check the documentation. When it came to travel, during the period of the New National Party in 12 months, they have just spent what the NNP would have spent in 5 years, a full term in government. They spent it in 6 months in travel. And that's information that could be verified. And what have they come back with? Yeah, what have they come back with? Have you heard them saying that, okay, we went to this trip in the United Arab Emirates and we've come back with $20 million for this project? Or we've gone to Alba in Cuba and we've come back with this agreement that's going to provide Grenada with significant investment in the health sector. So we're going to be receiving technical assistance to build a new hospital or to improve the healthcare services around the island. Have you heard them saying anything like that? The press secretary still just disappear. Yeah, still disappear. And meanwhile, when it comes to the questions that were posed in Parliament, now, after they have said that they spent $250,000, 5,000 each, on the various people that are there as transition leads, one of the individuals pulled herself out and say, hey, me ain't get no pay. Yeah? So one of the individuals who is down as a transition lead, Mrs. Joyce Thomas Peters, has said she never collected any pay. She did it pro bono because she is working with an international agency and it would be basically a breach, it seems. Yeah, that's the impression again, that she's working with an agency. She's working with government or along with government, whichever it is. And her salary is being funded by an international, not local sources, but international sources or regional sources, wherever. And due to that, it would have been a conflict of interest if she was being paid by the state of Grenada that $5,000 a month, which would total up to $15,000 over the 3-month period of the transition leads. And I think she was a transition lead in climate change. But she's saying that, no, she did this pro bono. She didn't collect any money. At least that's what they finally find the press secretary. They start to respond now because we start to open out on them. They start to respond now. So they have said that how this lady, Joyce Thomas Peters, who the Prime Minister, in his response, the Prime Minister of this country, responded saying that how she was one of the transition leads who received $5,000 a month. Yeah? So you're telling me that they didn't know that this lady was doing pro bono, so that when you're doing this, you could have say, and she did it pro bono. I remember a lady by the name, I think it's Margaret Payne, who under the Tillman Thomas administration, she was assisting the Prime Minister's ministry, and she did it pro bono. And when the documentation was given with all the advisors and the people hired, from advisors right down to the drivers and secretaries that were hired, next to her, you had pro bono services. But you saw the salaries for everybody there, like Mr. Chris DeRiggs back in those days, I think it was around 8,000 or whatever he was getting a month, and who was getting 11,000 and all this kind of thing, who was getting 7,000 and 6,000 and all of that a month. All right? But now, that is hidden. So you put their names, you don't put the amount of monies that they get next to it, and people are left now to try and figure out what is taking place. Then, you see documents popping up now with the names of other advisors that are not on the list. So it means that an incorrect, incomplete, and false list was sent to Parliament. Let me say that again. An incorrect, incomplete, and false list was sent to Parliament. It doesn't even say next to it how much they're being paid. And then, remember, this is the same government that was saying that they're going to engage the youth and they're going to hire the youth and they're going to keep the youth. But yet still, retirees they bring back in. The same thing they've been speaking against. Retirees they brought back in because they said, no, the age range. You ask for the age of each of the people, they give an age range. You didn't ask for an age range. You asked for the ages of each individual who was a transition lead or is an advisor. And they give the age range as 45 to 65. It's nobody in their 30s and 20s. Then they promise space for youth. In some instances, youth are considered people under the age of 35. In others, they're considered people under the age of 30. So CARICOM have one thing, the United Nations have one thing, another one have a next thing. Some is actually 25 and under is considered youth. Some 30 and under, some 35 and under is considered youth. So in whichever way that you look at it, people between the ages of 45 to 65 are not youth. And there was a campaign promise, a platform promise to engage youth at all levels. Even when you're looking at some of the statutory bodies now and the makeup of those statutory bodies, you're not seeing any significant input of youth. What you're seeing is the old guard of the NDC getting a blight. And they can't come and say, well, NNP used to do this. No, they are the ones that came to the Grenadian people and said that on all of the statutory bodies, and so they're going to make sure that young people are represented. They are the ones that said that. They are the ones that said they're going to make sure they're going to get young people and they're going to put them, not the whole board, but at least you have one or you have two or so on the various boards. And so they ask people to submit the names and all that kind of thing. But all of a sudden like that is out the door. And then you see these people, some of them who retire, how much years now? 65 years. Some of them are about to take 66. And these are the people that they have and had as transition leads and have as advisors. And then you have the biggest one of them all, that in the Ministry of Youth, you have two advisors to basically do the same thing. But I ain't see a contract with Mr. Simmons, so I don't know if he's still with the Ministry of Youth. I don't know if he's an advisor in the Ministry of Youth still. But as far as I knew, he was supposed to be an advisor in the Ministry of Youth. But up comes the name now, Ian Thomas, and commonly known by everybody as Django, from up there in St. Andrew, Trenchtown to be exact. He like to let people know he from Trenchtown. Not me. The man like to let people know he from Trenchtown. He's a Trenchtown youth. Play basketball, everything do with them. Right? Who is now an advisor in the ministry, has a 50% concession on a brand new vehicle. Right? 50% concession on a brand new vehicle. And he asked about whatever other benefits that the advisors are receiving. Nothing was said. So that was covered up. That he's receiving a concession. His name was covered up. Then the benefits that the advisors are receiving was covered up. Because I don't see that he would be receiving a 50% concession plus $412 traveling, or $415, I can't remember the exact amount, in traveling per month, right? And that other advisors would have a different deal totally from him. I would think that is across the board, so that each advisor would have the concession to get the vehicle and they have the monthly transportation allowance and that sort of thing. And he's being paid $4,500 a month. And he can't say a lie because I got a copy of his contract. I find it in front of the door. Yeah, that's how I get it. Somebody put it in an envelope and I drop it in front of the door. I find it. And it's real because it's stamped, it's signed, everything. Yeah. You understand? So I have the contract. So they can't say that, oh, I'm lying. They could never say that I'm lying. So fellas, when I see me in Grenville, tell the man run a drink now. The man getting $4,500 a month. All the money, well, nearly $5,000. Yeah? Plus, he has concession on vehicle. Ask the man for a ride.
Past administration, the cause of frustration. Past administration, chief of corruption. Then to economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession.
Tell you, I've known ministers under the New National Party to go in. In fact, right now you have Simon Steele is out there with the climate change. He's in head of climate change for the United Nations, and so just shows that the New National Party knows and chooses quality people. And he was an individual that would go there and come back with millions of dollars in relation to climate change projects and so. Yeah? Whether it was making the town of St. George into a climate smart city and all of those projects and so. But he would go out and he would find money, and it wasn't a case where government had to be spending $500,000 to send out people. You mean you're spending the NNP traveling budget for 5 years, you spend it in 6 months? Nah, man, something definitely had to be wrong with these individuals.
And disgruntled green people with the vexed face. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting, busy inflicting poverty and hunger through a grenade.
ShopRite Duncan, I didn't even see your message.
Never be wrong.
You and Cindy like thing.
Not send them advisors home. They're sucking money like water in foam. And rehire the imanis.
If Django don't like it, that's the business he faces his own. So what if I come and I say, should be public information? If he's an advisor, his name ought to have been on the list that was submitted to Parliament. And I think that an apology needs to come from the Prime Minister and his team for the false information that was presented to the Parliament.
Internal division, but some can't digest that one. Remember the man say he's an asset to the party? And will we vote you?
That's why they're upset, because they want to know, how do I get information? And how I could be quoting exact that none of them could take me to court. None. None of them can even take me to a tennis or a basketball court. None.
You think politicians would trick us with campaign promises? We won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain.
Folks, 4407377. It's now 3 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock, and 347-329-3101. Remember, this should be the final program for the year.
And I come no chicken before the hatch. Politicians sometimes form a crooked badge. After they get the vote, they now sing one note.
Yeah, so you've got the opportunity to call in. Let me say a special good night to you, Mommy George.
Brand new car on the scene. While our
and to your listener online. Martin and Ms. V, a special good night to you. My good friends up countryside, special good night to you. Gertrude Abraham, a happy birthday to you out there in Tivoli. Hope that you have a wonderful one today. Well, tonight, yeah, I know you probably had a wonderful one for the day, yeah.
From the mouth of Grenada, only one thing I utter. The Congress neglect us. The Congress fail us. And I could never...
Now, if they spend $500,000 in travel, then in my estimation, they should come back with at least $1 billion worth of stuff, money and technical assistance and so for the people of Grenada. You can't just spend $500,000 to go and travel, and then you come back, and then you have nothing to show for that $500,000. In fact, what you're doing, instead of being able to come back now and say that we secured this loan, we secured this grant, we secured this technical assistance, instead of being able to come back and say that, you apply for the highest appropriation bill in the history of the state of Grenada. Not only from independence to now, you know, from before that as well, when we were British, we were under the British. You had Hurricane Janet, you had Hurricane Ivan, all these things, and you still didn't have an appropriation bill of that size, $350 million. And some of you may be saying, well, what bill is Sheldon talking about with the appropriation bill? When you do your budget, there's the appropriation bill. That's a bill that has to be passed along with it. It's an act that's brought to Parliament, passed along with your estimates of revenue and expenditure. Now, the appropriation bill gives the government the ability to borrow up to a certain amount. to help fund the budget. So let's say grants. Grants are that a country, let's say our good friends the Chinese, have decided to give $80 million to Grenada for the year 2023. Right? That's a grant. They decide to give that. You don't have to repay it. It's not a loan. They give that to you to do a project. Right? Or Mexico decides that they're giving $20 million to Grenada as a grant. They give you that to help you do a project or so, whether it's a youth project or it's an environmental project or whatever. So you get those grants. Now, you may do your budget and figure in those grants. So you figure in the 80 million from China, you figure in the 20 million from Mexico, 100 million, and you say, well, we're going to be getting 100 million from these, and this is what we intend to do with it. But circumstances may develop in either country that they are unable to send that money to you on time. So they may promise you that they're going to send it in June, and they can't send it in June because something may happen, and they're unable to send that money as before. Yeah? When that happens, you have the appropriation bill that allows you to borrow up to a certain amount. Under the NNP, they had 100 million. I think once it went about 200 million for an appropriation bill. And even though you had the appropriation bill there, it was not a case that the NNP then used that bill and went and borrow 100 million or borrow 200 million. In some instances, they didn't even matter. You really use the bill. They just pass it just in case something happened and you have to go and borrow money to complete projects or to keep government running, right? This government, it shows how much they care, they believe in their own budget, has not one of the highest ever appropriation bill, $350 million that they passed that allows them to borrow up to that amount. So they can go now and borrow up to $350 million. They don't even have enough confidence in themselves to raise that money from the local economy, from when the taxes that they collect, the VAT and that sort of thing. And then they're giving tax holidays to certain individuals. You understand? So they're giving tax holidays to their friends. That's the sort of thing that's taking place. And those are the kind of discussions that they don't want us to have. And that's why we must have those discussions. We must speak to each other and understand that there is nothing but sufferation in that budget for people who do not have the same means as them. Because none of you listening to this program, outside of the MPs that we know on the NDC side are listening to this program today, listen religiously to this program every night. Outside of them, who have received the additional $24,000 a year, you ain't get no pay raise like that. So they get additional $24,000 a year. And telling the police now, one, we can't find the report that say to raise all your pay and how much to raise all your pay by. We can't find it. A report that one person in the ministry could sit down and send an email and request and get within a few hours. Okay, I know the time difference and so. Sometimes you could get it in minutes according to if you know who to message in those companies. You could get that report in minutes or seconds. You send a report, you make a call, you make a WhatsApp call. Yeah, you contact them online. And you say, we need that copy of that report. It's a report for Grenada. It's a report I believe was already paid for everything. So you just request the report from Ernst & Young and you say, we need that report. But instead you're telling the police it's incomplete. You're lying for them. And police officers ought to know that. That if it is a report, a document in 2022 going into 2023 as we are right now, that it cannot be a situation that you say the document is incomplete or you're getting part of the document when all it takes is a message, an email, a WhatsApp or whatever to Ernst & Young and request a copy of the document. So Ernst & Young, after they do the document for Grenada, they erase it from the files? Come on, who you fooling with that? Not those police officers out there who working tonight. Not those who have to go and put up a roadblock different place. Not those police officers and them, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, they have to be outside. Whether it's raining, hurricane, they have to be outside. Not them that you're telling that. My goodness, these people have taken $24,000 additional for themselves on a yearly basis. They've increased the budget for parliamentarian salary by over $0.3 million on a yearly basis. And they find it hard to negotiate in good faith with the police officers and the unions. Well, Mr. Grimes, I'm waiting to hear from you on that one. No, I'm waiting. I ain't making no. I'm waiting. I want to hear what it is that your union has offered and what government has offered. And if you're all willing to take that. Because as I've said before, rather than just take a salary increase for themselves, as these individuals who didn't even pass their probationary period of 3 months, they didn't even pass that. Yeah? Just behaving like petulant children. These individuals didn't even pass through the 3 months probationary period. And they took an increase. They didn't say, okay, let's set up a committee. Let's get some people of integrity from the financial community, ask the Conference of Churches to send a representative and representatives of the unions. So the unions come together and they choose someone to represent them, somebody from the legal fraternity. Let's set up a committee and look at the issue. Look at the issue of pay when it comes to parliamentarians, but not just parliamentarians. When it comes to the parliamentarians, when it comes to all the staff that work at the parliament, yeah, the staff at the parliament too, you have to look at their salaries too. So you look at the parliamentarians, you're looking at the staff. But remember, they didn't even look at parliamentarians, you know, because they just look at cabinet ministers. Cabinet ministers alone they look at. So don't think that is Dr. Mitchell and Sister Emlyn Pierre and Honorable Peter David. Don't think they get in at 24,000 additional a month. No, let me make that clear. They ain't getting that. In fact, what is a parliamentarian salary when you're in opposition? I think it's $1,200 a month that they get in. I think that is what they're getting. If I remember correctly, I could double check my figures, but I think it's somewhere around there. It's not as much as $2,000 a monthly basis when you're just an opposition parliamentarian sitting in parliament. Right? So there is that situation. So if you're going to look at all parliamentarians. Look at the senators who are getting about $1,000 a month. When you're on the opposition side, when you're on the government side and you're in a ministry is a different thing. Or even when you're on the government side and you don't hold a ministry, it's a different thing. But when you're on the opposition side or you're representing the trade unions or you're representing one of the other groups, I think it's about $800 to $1,000 somewhere they're getting. If more than that, not much, not by much more, not as much as $2,000 that they're getting on that side. But yet still, these individuals didn't say, let us equalize the thing and let's even out and let's look at all the senators and decide we're going to give them a proper package and we're going to give all the parliamentarians on both sides a proper package or so. But that we'll also look at the staff at the parliament, the secretaries, the stenographers and so on. All of these people will ensure that we raise their salary. And outside of that, let's look at the public service on a whole. So that secretaries, we're going to set a different grade for secretaries and we're going to set a different grade for different people so that people would be paid properly across the board. So it doesn't look at something as you just come in and you just grab a set of money for yourself, because that is what happened. Again, they've added $0.3 million to their salaries as parliamentarians on a yearly basis. Meanwhile, public servants fighting up to try and make our money. You understand? That's what they're trying. We have seen what these individuals have done already. And we know a bit of what 2023 is going to look like. I think we have a caller online. Let's go to the phone line. Good night.
Good night, my brother Sheldon.
Hi, good night. How are you? You need to raise your voice to me, because
I can't get the station.
No, we're not. We're not. We're on 89.5, but I think they have a problem right now. But when we come back for the new year, that should be resolved.
That's good. In the day, I don't get 89.5, but now I can't get it.
Okay. But they did have a little problem, I know, in relation to connectivity, but that's being sorted out.
Tell Mommy Georgia say hello, and
All right.
Teresa Matterson in Kirku, she listening too.
Okay, my dear.
Matterson in Kirku, Teresa Matterson,
Mm-hmm.
Cow Food Restaurant, Sandbar.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, my dear. You enjoy the rest of your night?
Yes, and you must come and look for me.
You know when I get a chance, but you know the price of gas high these days, I prefer to call. All right, my dear. You enjoy the rest of your night?
Yes, that.
Okay, bye-bye.
Love, baby.
All right.
Right.
Yes, folks, 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. And for those of you outside of Grenada, 347-329-3101. All right?
All your friends in me. Some of all you sit in your area. Not one of all you call the officer. All your friends.
And we've got a caller on the line. Good night. Hello.
Hi, Sheldon.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Season's greetings to you. I'm barely hearing you though. You're like you're in a bad service
you're not
area.
hearing me. Okay, you hearing me better now?
Slightly better. Go right ahead, my dear.
Oh, it's Nancy. I'm just giving you a follow-up phone call.
You catch me there.
Yes, I know.
You're well catch me there.
I know.
How are things going with you though?
Good.
All right.
I always ask Sam about you, you know?
Of course.
And I'm enjoying the program, you know? I'm out of sight, but not out of mind.
Of course. And we hope to see you home soon, you know.
Yes, don't worry. You'll see me.
Of course. And make sure when you come down, you check me.
Of course, I will.
You know you's my good friend for a lot of years.
Oh, yes. So I just want to tell you I'm enjoying the program, and I wish that tonight is not the last for the year, but say what?
Yeah, well, you know how it goes sometimes when it comes to Christmas time and political programs. Usually, like next week, most time people do the baking, they putting up curtain, the painting, the thing. They want to hear no politics really, you know?
Right.
But if enough folks request it, you never know, I might try a thing.
All right.
Okay, my dear.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Same to you, my dear. All right. Tell
All right.
Sammy and everybody hello for me.
I will.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Yes, indeed. That's the Nursey. Yes, so when I hear a shout out, Nursey, that's Nursey. All right. 4407377 and 347-329-3101. Nice. Yeah, I'm on all you fretting me. Yeah, that's what you do. You put a commission in place. You get competent people to look at the issue of the salaries of public servants across the board. From chief cook down to bottle washer, even from the governor general down and her staff. Yeah, because you may very well find that you might end up having the lowest paid governor general. You never know. So you have to check all of these things out. We have a caller on the line. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Sheldon Scott. Good night.
Hey, Camille Teresa Scott.
Yeah, that's my name.
How you
good
doing,
night,
my love?
Grenadians. All the Grenadians is listening to Talking Point. Good night. Miss Jacob, good night, darling. Good night, Miss Jacob. And home and abroad, always listening. Well, what's up, Sheldon?
I am good, you know. You know, I always blessed. I just doesn't get a chance to pass by you as regular as before.
All right, a day, man. A day.
But you see me break neck when I pass it in tongue. You see me break neck when I pass it in tongue to see if you're there.
What's that a day? I keep it in tune, yeah.
Yes, but
talking about the police, it's good for them. Them that vote for NDC, damn good. I don't sorry for some of them.
oh gosh,
I
oh
don't apologize. Damn good for them.
No, but
good for them. Them that vote for them. So what they get, let it take. You know I'm coming up there tonight. and you're talking about the police and money, right? They don't get in a raise or whatever. They don't get in nothing. They stop in all car. This hour they walking in the road. They stop in every vehicle, and they don't give them nothing good. It's good for them. How about the police force vote for NDC? Because a lot of them thought they would get stripe and they would get position. They don't get nothing. You don't hear what the Prime Minister say? He's doing things different. And they're frotting now. Are them frotting? Good. I'm sorry for them.
Well, the thing is this, though. I would say
I don't want to hear no Mr. Scott because it's done that people in that situation. They don't support in the poor people on the street. Listen to me. I don't bright like some of y'all, you know. But let me tell you something in Grenada. That budget is for rich people, not for poor people.
yeah, that's the
Not
situation.
for poor people, Mr. Scott. Are they on the ground all the years? And people struggling. You know what for a lollipop now? A lollipop is $1.
Wow.
$1. A lollipop used to be 25 cents. People
Yeah.
listening. Used to be 25 cents for the small one. And a big one used to be 50 cents. Now it's $1. A tiki used to be 50 cents. Now it's $1. Ping pong used to be 50 cents. Now it's $1. All drinks going up. But poor people suffering. And it's just some people that don't want to speak out and say nothing. Because these people come in there now to take advantage on poor people. People,
And
they're taking advantage, Mr. Scott, on poor people.
and you know, right now there are many shopkeepers who have already raised the price of sugar.
But
Now
yet the
this-
prices have to raise because
This is
every
supposed to take
van-
place next year, but a lot of the places that are
But it
selling
was
sugar already raised it.
They're waiting for 2023.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know a lot of you that listening me. I do go say all kind of things, but you butter. I live in Grenada. Right? I can't put on my Christmas light this year. You know why? I'm afraid when the bill comes, might be $500-$600.
Yeah, because the price will be going up. Because you can't tell me that you take off a 10% or a 7%, whatever it is, and you add back 25% and you lower the price.
All of us silly because I thought when they win the election, it's only NNP who are going to pay the light bill on the high and the water bill. All of us have to pay. So all of us feeling it now. Yes. Are you calling it Michelle name now? Are you say they don't do nothing in this country? Take what all you get, Mr. Deacon. Say he's doing things different. That all of us silly with. It's
All
too
right.
hypocrite and bad mind. Let feel it now. Let us shoe squeeze them in the foot in the road. Because half of the police force, really a police force, vote for NDC. Yes. And some of the humanis. So some of them I used to feel bad, but now I'm feeling it for myself. Let them take it. Let them take it too. I don't sorry for them. Them that bring that on themselves. Watch.
You
I
this
cannot
Camille
know.
Teresa Scott, you like
A
real
few more
thing.
days for Christmas. Don't busy. Every people passing with a little to some flowers in a black bag, yes? But people used to pass with a carpet, the cushion, the sponge to make the cushion. And they're living by me. They're living by the next thing. That don't happen. I'm not saying people are spending all the money, no. But the poor class, Mr. Scott, the poor class people that is feeling it. I don't care what none of these people say. It's the truth. I don't have to lie. One of the activists why you should get on won't pass today. He living in Mr. Olivier and them house in Grand Mall. How people mouth on the ground. I figure in the cat telling you know, and I drive coconut and he just walk in his tongue and St. George without exercise in your hand. They don't give him a walk, but he passing and say people mouth on the ground. Could you believe that?
I thought it was boots on the ground. Now it's mouth on the ground.
He said people mouth on the ground and they don't give him a walk.
They can't
He
make
said
up their
that
mind.
journalist,
They can't make up their mind whether it's boots on the ground or mouth on the ground.
anybody want to have fig, you could come. And a cane.
But Kami, I just get fig from you.
I go eat a fig. Thank God for Dr. Keith Mitchell. I don't have to shame to say that. Thank God for Dr. Keith Mitchell. Peter David. Thank God for these guys. Mr. Olandena, Lord. Thank you for these people. Are you giving a break this morning, Grader? Are you just start to feel it? One man say only me, I just call the program. A good friend of mine.
We don't mind. It could be you alone. It could be nobody. We don't mind.
I don't call Sheldon. Sometimes I'm late. I come up late because I have to stay to see if I get $1 because I have to pay me water bill. You understand? Poor people suffering. And I don't know what is people there and they're not doing nothing for poor people. Or you don't start to walk yet. You don't start to walk yet. Or you don't start to walk yet. This person getting that person. Y'all should have never go down the road to sending home poor people and doing this kind of mischief. Or they should have said, when NMP leave, you continue. I ain't saying, Mr. Scott, they could not have moved some people in position where I was working with the NMP, move them and put them in the next office or whatever. Or you stand these poor people up, or you want them to go and live bad lives, not these young people. Some of them go back home, you know, they don't walk in.
You see, Camille,
they go drink rum, they go smoke weed.
And the price of the rum going up. The price of the rum going up.
And you're talking about young people. I don't old. I am 66 years. All you can do me nothing, you need that. And I don't run in. It's here I live in. I'm giving praises to these people that help me and others. And right now we're suffering. We're suffering. Look at that, Mr. Scott, before I go. I'm buying cocoa ball to sell. And there are some NDC people I used to buy from them before the election. And they refuse to sell me some cocoa now. Try to tell you how they divide this country. And people hate people.
That makes absolutely no sense on their behalf. That's just nonsensical.
And I don't hate nobody. I can't hate.
Yeah.
I can't hate nobody. I take in communion. I don't hate nobody. We all live in good in Grenada. I'm advising people to stay water and prepare your country.
Yeah.
And how you will not stay there forever. God is good.
All right, my dear.
Have a good night. And good night to Mr. Watts.
Yes, he is
Mr.
listening.
Watts and Patricia.
Yes.
And Grenadians.
Mr. Watts and the family.
Family that they're in America and England. That's a little barrel this year for y'all. Have a good night, Scott.
All right, my dear. Yes, and you know, we Scots, we doesn't afraid nobody, you know. Yeah. No matter what branch of the tree is, you ain't afraid nobody. They can't scare us. All I would say, because some people sending messages to me on WhatsApp thing telling me, all I would say in relation to what I sending messages, tell them to make sure and put the URL of tonight's program so the individual that seemed to be having a heart attack over our program, that they would be able to view properly and get their viewers to view. Just give them the URL of the program. Good night.
Hey, good evening, Sheldon. How are you?
I'm quite fine, bro. How are you doing?
It's cold. It's cold outside.
Yeah, I hear you can't feel your fingers, brother. I hear you can't feel your fingers.
Well, I feel like mine because I'm in a taxi heading home.
You're lucky now, man.
Listen, I have a few questions I want to ask.
Go right ahead.
Now, I want you to do a budget presentation that was done by Nazim Bok at 2010-2011. And when you get that document, I will send some other matching documents for you. But what is interesting, I would like to know what was the position in the Ministry of Finance held by Lennox at that time.
Well, I've got those budget documents home, you know. I've got the hard copy of those home. I think I've got 2011, 2012, I've got 2011, 2012, 2010, yeah. I've got them at home, so I could always check.
Beautiful. So then I will send some corresponding documents for you. And then I will tell you what it is we're looking at.
All right.
Now, this new, I say new, yeah? the NDC administration comes across as if it is a new NDC. And it has been giving people the impression that this is not like the quote-unquote old NDC. However, it is quite interesting to note that the people who they have selected or hired to pay more money to lead their transformation are nothing but political failures from the old NDC. So who are they trying to fool? You see, if it was new, and if it was so youth-oriented, I am sure, and I would like you to do that for me, there are enough young people in Grenada who are supportive of the NDC, let's just say, that could lead the transformational process they are talking about. However, what they did is they went to the political failures of the last NDC. So, same, you know what, different day.
Well, look, let me use an example for you. Two of the advisors that they place in the Ministry of Youth are two of the people that failed that ministry terribly during the period 2008 to 2013. When I say terribly,
that's what I'm saying.
These young people were basically begging you to please save them by the time you came in 2013. Because these two individuals were such a failure. But yet still, that's who they're taking advice from, so?
Now, the other question I want to ask is to the member for Parliament for St. John. Could she confirm that she was threatening to drop out of the political campaign when she heard certain things, and it was only because of money that was given to her already she didn't drop out?
That's just that's an allegation, Ed, and that's just an allegation.
No, that's a question.
Yeah, it's a question.
Asking a question.
Yeah.
Right? Is it true? Could she confirm whether or not that is the case? And it is understood, they could tell you better, that the sale of Grenlec is going to be announced in the independent speech. Grenadians have to look out for the...
You mean the attempted sale? They feel it so?
Well, they're going to announce it, or they're planning to announce it, and they're going to push your bill, your electricity bill is going to be high for the Christmas. I'm not asking you that. You're going to be spending more, and they're going to give you a reason, and the reason would be the government cannot continue to manage Grenlec. It's causing a problem, but that is not true. They're planning to sell it. That the money they receive for campaign was on the basis that they will sell back Grenlec. You heard what I said, sell back. All right, so those are the things I want you to ask and look out for me. And I'll keep listening, although I understand. No, let me not tell you that on the air. We talk about that.
Yeah, we were talking chambers.
My brother, have a beautiful night.
All right, same to you, my brother, and get home safely.
All right.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so some questions being posed there. All I'm saying here is just remember, if they're talking about talking points, because we know they must talk about talking points because it's the most dangerous program in the island of Grenada with the most dangerous viewers. Yeah, they're afraid, not me, they're afraid of no. They're afraid all you. Because they know when we talk the facts here, that you all are going to go and speak it elsewhere. So it's not me they're afraid all you. And that's what makes this program the most dangerous program on the island of Grenada. Right? So just tell them, make sure they get a URL properly when they're going. Nobody think. Make sure you get a URL proper. All right? Nice. Yeah. So when we say things like Tevin Andrews in Carriacou is receiving on a monthly basis $2,600 as traveling allowance, but is still utilizing the government vehicle, and it ought to stop. They don't like when we say that. They like when we say that. Yeah? They vex What is about him for? Hey, in politics, I could talk about him the same way I talk about people we could talk about all here, right? Because it is wrong. If the Prime Minister is saying, I'm not partaking of any increase, and I'm not taking the increase because I am provided transportation by the state, and you are a minister, but you're taking the increase, and you are also provided transportation by the state, then one or all you is a hypocrite. Either your boss is a hypocrite for letting you do it, or you're a hypocrite for doing it and your boss don't know. Well, if your boss didn't know, he's supposed to know now, because we know that has given reports on what I said on this program. So Tevin Andrews, the MP for Karaku, who is using the government vehicle but still collecting transportation allowance on a monthly basis, it is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. It don't matter who say it. It don't matter where they say it. The bottom line is one of you all are, or both of you are hypocrites. Yeah? And they can't deny the fact. And don't feel we don't have pictures and video of him with the vehicle. He has 100% duty-free concession. Go and buy a vehicle. And then start to collect your thing as normal. But that is the sort of thing, because you see, they want two sets of rules in this country. One set of rules for people who support the New National Party, and one set of rules for people who support the NDC. So something that they would tell you is wrong, if it's someone in the NNP does it, these are the same people that come back afterwards and tell you that it's okay if somebody in the NDC do it because they're not an NNPite. That's hypocrisy. Yeah? So if you, your political leader, your prime minister, your chairman of cabinet is saying that it is wrong for him to collect an increase because he's provided a vehicle by the state, then how are you provided a vehicle by the state, yet still feel it's okay to collect the increase, the $24,000 a year? How you could feel it's okay to collect it? Something had to be wrong with that. 440-7377. I know someone, I missed a couple calls on the local line. 440-7377. Give us a call. But I still stand with our police officers. I still support our police officers. I mean, yes, sometimes man is his own worst enemy, but that doesn't mean that he should suffer. At the end of the day, I still stand with the police officers, eh? So let's get the pay and grade issue sorted out. Don't give the police officers that stupid story about, oh, you can't find report or you only have part of the report, when all it takes is an email to get a report. Don't try that.
Don't fret me.
Email, it's as simple as that. Remember, let us talk as all it takes is a Lasha pen. Yeah, this just take a Lasha email and you could get the report, so that the police officers, all 1 or 2 or 3,000, how much of them that they are in the island, that these individuals can be treated fairly. Nice? That is the reason the report was commissioned in the first place, to ensure that when the time comes that they are treated fairly. We have a call on the line. Good night. We've got a caller. Good night.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hey, just cool ya.
Hey?
Yeah, man.
Masakale, man.
Hey, Papa. How's it going?
Yeah, keep the rock going, man. Keep rocking, man.
Yeah, man. But, oh, gosh, I wanted to take the rest from tonight, but they're telling me like I have to go into next week, man. All I get is message, stay there until next week.
But I think I'll go up to next Sunday.
Man, all I hear is stay there, Sheldon, stay there.
Yeah, Sheldon, I just want to speak a bit about the police and that whole scenario with the pay and grade. Now, on the campaign, the present Prime Minister promised the police to sort out the pay and grade. Then, a few days after he won the election, he met with the police and told them that the pay and grade would be on the front burner. Lo and behold, in recent days, the police negotiating team was told that they cannot find the text or the full report of the pay and grade. And I think...
But that's absolute nonsense, man. That's just an email to get at. I mean, all it takes is an email. Ernst & Young is an existing company. It's not a company that used to be around and they closed down. It's an existing company that you just send an email to, you make a call, you send an email, and they send over an email with the document. It's not like that to pack off some boxes of document and ship them on the banana boat over from England. Just an email.
And the thing about it is, in June, as you went to the police and tell them what this thing is on the front burner. But as usual, lack of institutional knowledge and lies. Because we seen a pattern here, Sheldon. Everything they say, when you check it out, is not what it is. And I just want people to understand, because they're sending out a set of things to try to distract us from the real issues. The real issues that they are not performing with distinction. And you touch it a bit earlier on. After you make all this shenanigans or the best budget ever, then right away you're asking for the permission to borrow XYZ. So that shows the confidence even they have in the budget.
Yeah, because the highest amount ever,
in the budget.
It's the highest amount ever in the history of Grenada that's been asked for. I mean, you've been in the Senate, I've been in the Senate, and I've never seen a loan appropriation bill for 350 million. That shows that.
When I say that earlier on, Sheldon, people telling me stupid is attacking, because see, you have a set of people here in this country, as you see, two different rules. Rules for NNP, rules for NDC. And what frightens me most, Sheldon, is the so-called bright set of people that believe in all this stupidness and them. Because you heard all the pronouncement even about the Polish business and the so-called information. And then you're hearing now about FIU. Because you have a new director of FIU, because it's not the police anymore. So you understand the kind of games we're playing?
And Master Carl,
they don't want us to speak about that, so they're showing out certain things to distract us, but we have to stay on track.
And full disclosure, when you speak about pay and grade and so on, you were formerly a member of the negotiating team, weren't you? Back in the days.
And in some cases, let me tell you this, some of the skills, when we did our own investigation, one person could be certain skills, people could, like in the corporal skills, they could be getting $400 increase by that pay and grade thing with the public service. And if you multiply 400 by 12, and since 1995, they have 20-something years, so 100 and something $1,000 just so, you know. And these are the things, when you're in opposition, you could be reckless and you could promise everything. But the reality of getting it done is what's happening to them and the pay and grade now. So they go make all kind of excuses or the pay and grade. And you hear some people talking about backdoor. How you could negotiate something with government in backdoor? You find that making sense?
Not at all.
You find the language is one that is sensible?
Not at all. Well, you see, that's the sort of thing that they're doing, and then they try these distraction tactics and so on. That's why we have to continually ask the Prime Minister. And one of the distraction tactics that they've been using when they're speaking about this money in account and that sort of thing, we simply have one question. Where is the cabinet conclusion? And then we have a request after that question. Please present the cabinet conclusion that says 290,000. Present it. Give the cabinet conclusion to the Grenadian people. Put it in the public sphere. Let people see it. Yeah, don't hide and put down your head. Give the cabinet conclusion to the Grenadian people.
Because that's what he says.
Yeah.
The second thing I just want to touch on briefly, Sheldon, the CBI. You realize one time the CBI was like Satan's thing with the NNP. Now you see the amount of monies spoken in the budget, 111 in one way and 83 million in one way. And when you check the fees, the government fees, because where they plan to raise $111 million, the government fees is $50,000. And in that part, that has to do where the agents will make their money. But when last I check on the website, you have person sitting in the cabinet of Grenada what is agents, and they never say they're not agents now.
Well,
added to that, the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security has to sign off on every one of those passports. And to make that money is about 2,700 and something passports that to sell to make that money. And then he is the cabinet, he is the chairman of cabinet, and cabinet decides how the program go on. So you see the level of thing what's going on there?
exactly.
So a man who said the percentage and had to sign could be a beneficiary of the same thing. And these are the things they don't want us to talk about. So they showing all this little thing of them for we to run behind it. But Sheldon, we have to stay steadfast and realize that we have to bring the information to the Grenadian people.
And you see,
Because
that's why earlier I made sure of speaking in relation to what a person who's, let's say you have somebody whose salary right now is $2,500, right?
Yeah.
Out of that $2,500, they have to know next year they have to pay increase NIS, increase water, increase electricity, increase in sugar and all the drinks and so on, beer, all these things. They can't go out and have a little beer with your partners and so
the
price increase.
Increase in gas.
Increase in gas. Increase.
And it will be more than 15
poultry.
On calculations.
Basic food stuff, the package of food stuff. No measures have been put in place there to mitigate inflation and that, to stop the price from increasing on the basket of food stuff. Instead, they put it on lubricants and condoms. So anyhow.
And not only that, but the amnesty, Sheldon, is vexing him. There is a particular scenario where one of the businessmen would have made an agreement to pay. And then he tell the collector, right now, I don't warrant you next year, getting a break, I don't warrant you. And that is the level of governance we have here, you know. And there are some people before who used to chide themselves as integrity people. But integrity is not a weekend thing. Integrity is a full-time thing. You don't have parties and in integrity. And when you hear those people remain mute on those issues which would affect the ordinary person. So the pie on the plate, Sheldon, don't reach in the ordinary man here because you don't have enough to even buy the ingredients to make the pie. Huh?
Right now, to talk about pie on the plate is more like pie in your eye.
And these are the things we have to continue to educate the Grenadian public on, because if we don't do that, cop will smoke the people pipe because they have to understand what there is at play.
Of
but
course.
Keep the work going, man, and I think you should answer the plight of the people and continue, man.
And you're on tomorrow, right? You're on in the morning?
Tomorrow on Sunday also.
All right. So we're looking forward, folks. Don't forget, Master Carl is on with Real FM tomorrow morning. You look for them on YouTube. You look for them on Facebook. What time you starting?
Tomorrow is a long one from 7:30 to 11:30.
Oh, you have a long one tomorrow morning. So make sure Master Carl is on tomorrow morning. We tune in there. All right? Thank you so very much, Master Carl.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Let's up. Yes, indeed, folks. 440, that's Master Carl. Yeah. 440-7377. And Master Carl could talk about the pay and grade thing. He was on the negotiating team years ago, so he knows. And you hear the kind of thing that a corporal could be getting $400 more. That is when they do it how much years ago. So I think they're afraid of the police officers seeing the Ernst & Young report. That is why they're keeping it from them. But I wonder if the joint negotiating team of the Royal Grenada Police Force can contact Ernst & Young and ask for it separately. Although they were not the client that ordered it. I'm wondering if they can't ask for it. And if they may be availed of the opportunity. If government will say, well, yes, you can ask for it. Because if they say you can't, then they're hiding something. And if they can't ask for it, then they're hiding something. What is it that they're hiding? Yeah, it's okay for them to take a $2,000 increase on a monthly basis, $24,000 a year, but they can't give corporals in the police force even a $400 increase, especially with the price of goods keep going up. And then they try to bamboozle you by telling you, oh, they keep talking about Imani and this thing called Imani. And so we know that they don't like Imanis. We know they hate Imani program. Remember their former minister came and said he was glad to come and get rid of the Imani program. We know that. The same person who advising now. So we know that. So when you tell me you reduce the budget by over $11 million or how much you reduce it by, when you reduce that, so how could you reduce it and keep the same amount of people in the program? Even if as you claim, you're graduating people out of the program, or you're transitioning, as you say. And all I say is transitions is death news on GBN. But they say they're transitioning people out of the program into the world of employment. That is what has been happening with the program over the years. There's always been that aspect of it where people leave the program and go into permanent employment. Earlier this year, you had 300 plus going into the Ministry of Health who were Imani trainees. But they don't want you to know that. And that didn't happen under NDC. That happened under NNP. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that. They want you to focus on what they're saying. They want you to focus on their narratives. They don't want us to have the serious discussions about the issues that are taking place here right now. You're saying fishing and agriculture are two of the pillars of the economy that you want to develop. And then you're speaking in glowing terms about how you're going to give 100% concession to the creative industry. So fellas who doing the look of video and think they could go and get a camera and they could go and get the mixer and they could go and get the look of thing like that. Yeah, that is okay. And I have no problem with that. But you should have put the same amount of focus on the fishermen and the people in agriculture to ensure that you zero rate items for them and that you also give them serious concessions, that if somebody wants to launch a boat, that they can go in and they could get some concessions on what they have. In fact, I don't find they should be paying anything to bring in them stuff. Or if they have to pay anything, very minimal. Just like a handling fee to bring them in. Because this is an industry that could bring in millions upon tens of millions of dollars into the country and has been doing so consistently over the years. And if you're looking to increase in that area, then you focus there, not on cameras and those kind of things in the creative industry alone. But this is the mindset of the individuals, that the Prime Minister of this country could stand up and lie to you, the Grenadian people, and make statements such as the former administration put $0 into the creative industry. That is a lie. And a big one too. And he stands up in Parliament grinning and saying this thing like if it's something that's true. Like if you don't know that Carnival is part of the creative industry and the government of Grenada spends significant amounts of money on Carnival every year. That if you don't know that there's a cultural center being built in St. Andrews, and that cultural center, you're spending a significant amount of money, I don't know the exact figure, to build that cultural center. That is money into the creative arts sector, the creative sector. That you have provided the subventions to all of the people who are under the mass bands associations. You provided subventions to the steel bands. You provided subventions to the Grenada Cultural Foundation, who has been doing work with cultural groups and other agencies throughout Grenada. That you have spent money, all of this money that has been spent under the creative sector, and the Prime Minister stands up and lie and say his government is the first. Like if everybody brain dead and nobody ain't gonna know that the man lying for us. In the same way that he comes out, he goes in a town hall and he calls out certain figures and people jump up. Why? Oh, we? Oh, why? Look what he's saying. And then at the end of the day, when you start to look into what he was really saying, you realize this man is not being truthful with the Grenadian people. He lied. Remember we used to have bong to lie? This one is like bong to lie 2.0. Because when you start to check what they have been saying, you realize the untruth in relation to what they have been putting out. So you claim there's a cabinet conclusion for a certain amount of money. And I, for one, I'm not going to stop saying present the cabinet conclusion to the people of Grenada. And it better be a real and not a fake photoshopped one. Present the cabinet conclusion to the people of Grenada. It is only fair. Just lying for no reason. So how much would it have taken from the Prime Minister to just come and say, listen, the last administration, they spent X amount of money in relation to the creative industry, and we've decided that we're going to place some more emphasis on it and we're going to put some more resources into that. People that say, well, okay, right, they're looking at that area and they put more money into it. But instead of that, you lie to the Grenadian people and say, not a cent has ever been spent under that area. And they can't tell me nothing because the tape is there. I have the tape of him saying it. In video and audio. And text. So these are the things that we are faced with here in Grenada. Yeah? And look at that. One of my good friends is just telling me that the creative sector have had concessions since the days of Adrian Spaceman Thomas. You know how long that is? That is since the year 1995. Adrian Spaceman Thomas. That if you're setting up something under the creative sector, so you're looking to assist, for instance, a steel pan looking to get some stuff coming up, or maybe a music band looking to get things, or even you're setting up a studio or something, that you could have written and gotten concessions under that, but trying to make it look as something new. But you know what they're trying to do? Let me explain. They have noted, right? They have noted that they are putting things in place to have full concessions for people in the creative sector. So that's the people who do the little, sometimes programs like this. So they need a camera, they need microphone, they need a mixer, they may need a streaming laptop or a streaming device or so. All of those things, lights, all of that. So they may need those things. They are giving those people 100% duty-free concession. But understand why they're doing it. They are doing it so that the people, like the same one that people keep messaging me and saying, call him a name tonight. I bet you any dollar that that individual and others will be the ones that are benefiting and upgrading the equipment to launch those attacks on the new National Party. That's what's going to happen. That's for their friends, the photographers who they have working with them, the digital artists that they have, graphic artists and so that they have working with them. That is to help their friends. Because if they were serious about that, here's what they would have done. They would have made sure that the people under the creative sector benefited from the CES grants. But people in the creative sector going under the CES grant, and then they are told, when they are told that they are not going to be given any money to buy these items overseas, what they have to do is find somebody overseas to buy the item for them, the cameras and the storage devices and so on. They have to find somebody in the States or Canada or England to buy these things for them and ship it down, and then CES will pay that person. So most people in the creative industry, they say, well, that is nonsense, I can't be bothered with that. They take one of them mouthpieces, I won't call their name, but they take one of them mouthpieces and they make him the agent for something like that. So in case somebody wanted to do it, that is the person they would go to and say, well, I want these items and so, and you purchase it, and then the government is going to repay you and they send it down to us and that kind of thing. That is what has been taking place. And while they have this CES up to now, we don't know the two people that they've put in CES, the two executive members of the NDC, the National Democratic Congress, the two executive members who they have put in CES right now. Because like they're trying to make CES into a cesspool. So they've put these two people into CES right now, who are just there forming the fool and causing a sort of frustration among people that genuinely have a good idea and want to set up a business. And then you have circumstances where people apply weeks ago, months ago, and people are applying this week and last week and get through before them. And nothing about they don't have the documentation together, you know. They have the documentation together. But that is the sort of thing taking place that they don't want discussed. I saw a brother trying to speak about that in St. George, Northwest. And they're trying to shut him up. Because they realized the thing was being streamed live. That's why they had take it down. And we make them put it back up. But they had take it down. Yeah? Because they didn't want those bits and pieces of information to go out. But if you're serious about the creative industry and CES, then you wouldn't have had CES ending at a particular time, like the end of this month, that the people, and then the concession in relation to those goods starting sometime in February or when. So in other words, they can't benefit from it if they get the money under CES. You could, song's nice way to come out and say, well, we've done that for the creative industry and we do this for the creative industry. So people who do the little podcasts and the little streaming and those kind of things and do the little nighttime programs and that, or do they run their own local news? Yeah? That's the kind of thing. You have people that apply for grants in September and other people, I'm talking about people. I'm talking here about people that have a track record in the creative industry. People who have been deeply involved in the culture of Grenada over the years. People who have contributed to winners in different categories, in different genres here in Grenada. And they're applying for a loan to help build their business and improve their business and upgrade what they're doing. And they're turning them down and taking people with no track record in days and giving them the grant. That is what has been taking place there. I've even heard an allegation, and I'm saying it's an allegation. I don't know it to be true. But I'm going to say what I've heard of instances of one person getting more than one grant. That's what I've heard. I can't say it's true, but that is what I have heard. That there are individuals who have gotten more than one grant under CES, and you have people that are applying and can't get none. We have a caller online. Hello.
Hey, Brother Sheldon.
Hey, good night. How are you?
All
right, I'm good.
Okay. Brother Sheldon, what I find out, a letter if report missing, you have the cabinet conclusion missing, you have the pay and grade report missing for the police. And then when that missing, this is what they should have, the government should have, and then go in the meeting with the police and negotiate. Because if the police asking for 4%, 8%, and that comes to 20%, but you don't come with a report, you see as missing, but you don't want to negotiate, and tell the police you offer them 4%, 2%, I feel that it's unfair. Right? Because that report should have the topic of the discussion in the negotiation. So you have to go with that. If that missing, that meeting should have to be put off until they get the information, until they get a report. Right? And see, Mr. P, when you analyze what's really going on, everything that they put tactics, eh? You see, when they make a failure of certain things, they try to get people out of that and focus on something that makes no sense. Right? But I have to say to people, you have to stay focused on the main issue. Because when you look at the budget, Mr. Sheldon, there is nothing there for the poor people. And the poor people in the Grenada are still searching to find what is in the budget for them.
Brother, you can't say there's nothing in the budget for poor people. There's sufferation in the budget for poor people. That's what it is. Have something there. It's called sufferation.
Exactly.
That is what is there in the budget for poor people. We can't say we're searching the budget to see what's there for poor. We know what's there. Sufferation.
Yeah.
Because you have to pay more on your NIS, more for your food, more for your water, more for your light, more for your transportation, and still the losing report they can't even give you for you to raise your salary.
You can't give, right? So there's nothing. I was saying nothing in the budget benefiting the poor people. What you're doing, you're putting people more problems. Because I remember in the campaign they say everything was happening great under NMP. NMP was the cause of the high cost of living. Well, if NMP was the cause of it, and then you come in now, the cost of living should be going down. But when we look, what we are seeing, it's getting higher every day. Right? So they make promises, people they can't fulfill the promise. And so that they say something and they can't fulfill it. But when you come in the kitchen and say, you go back to the people and say, well, boy, I promise that I can't fulfill it. But they still continue to lie for the Grenadian people. So I call upon the Grenadian people, look and see what the government is doing.
All right.
And what they're doing, they're looking at themselves, and when they have to give money to the big boys and them, they no problem. But when the poor man have to get any money, something will be missing. Something will be, they can't find that. And they want to come and give them what they want. No,
but they find the money in the treasury to put into their account every month though. Yeah, they find the 2,000 to put into their account every month.
And giving transfer lead advisors money. But where the poor,
well, $250,000 to transition leads in 3 months. $250,000.
Is the poor man, is the poor people that vote them there? Your poor people, you rich people vote them, your poor people vote them there. And the same, and so when they do, they don't even affect the poor people who vote for NMP. But all the poor people that vote for them, they turn it back on them.
All right, my brother. Thank you so very much. All right. Hey, Haro, a good night to you, bro. Hey, and Matthew, I don't think I shouted you out for the night thus far. So I am deep in consideration now of doing a program next week. If I am, it will not be 2 hours. I'm telling you, yeah, because, you know, this thing does involve babysitting, all kind of things. You know, yeah, as a daddy, I like to have my children around me. So this thing involves babysitting, all kind of thing. So if I am doing the program next week, and I'll have to have a discussion with my team to make sure. So we're not saying that this is the last program. We're saying we're going to discuss it. Keep on to the Talking Points page. We're going to send out a message to let folks know for sure we are having a program or we're not having a program, because for the amount of messages that I get, they say, no, you can't end tonight. You have to go into next week. I have to change my mind and put it into serious consideration, but I also have to put other things in place to ensure that I can get it done and done properly, all right? Because we have a lot of issues that we still have to speak about, you know. But, you know, we're out of time. It's 10 p.m. on the Spice Isle of Grenada. And as we always say when we're closing off the program, yeah, because, you know, we have a way we just close off the program. Yeah, we want to be speaking to, and we want to be speaking with you. In other words, we want to be able to talk to you and you can answer us. And we don't want to be speaking about you as in the past tense. So we want you to remain safe. We want you to remain secure. Right? Take care of each other. And I'm not saying season's greetings yet, because more than likely, we're going to move into next week with program. All you forcing my hand, but oh God, all you don't feel sorry for me. All you better bring black cake and yeah, don't watch the thing, you know. Bring the ham and bring the black cake and them kind of thing. The alcohol now. All you could bring the cake and all you could bring the a taking cake and thing when I could get it. Yeah, they used to talk about cake and ice cream and all kind of thing right now. So they raise the price of sugar, so you can't get no cake, you can't get no ice cream and all kind. All of that in it, you know. Folks, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's been wonderful being with you. And until next program, my name is Sheldon Scott. I am out of here. Love each and every one of you. And thank you to all of you that have messaged, all of you that have called. Yeah, let me say a special good night to the various people that passed by when I was on Cemetery Hill last evening. Yeah, I had a flat and I was on Cemetery Hill. And this is just a message to tell you how loving Grenadians are. Nearly every single vehicle that passed by stopped to find out, Sheldon, what happened. Even if they didn't know me, they stopped by. Hey, sir, you okay? You all right there? You need some help? Nearly every vehicle that passed by. And then a few people that passed by, well, and they lower the window and they shout, hey, program tonight, yeah, are listening. So a special good night to each and every one of you. And we'll be back with more talking points. I am out of here. Let's give them a nice oldie goldie as we're heading out tonight.
Tradition for this Kambule, Jambalasi ruling this time. Yes, we everywhere, taking it from the grapevine. We breaking all rules with fun, picong and rhyme. If the campaign didn't pass in the yard, they wouldn't have say, oh, me mad bad motor paper pass in the yard. You say to make it better, you need to steal me finger. Now only 1 year later, this country having heart failure. Hey, you vote, you don't vote, same damn thing. The heart or the hand, same damn thing. The change we ain't change, same damn thing. You win, you don't win, same damn thing.